All right, well, as others come on, they will catch up, but we will go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to the Picote Pro Packer webinar, the second of the day. We go over a quick agenda of what we're going to cover. And of course, as always, there's the Q&A feature on the top right-hand side of your screen where you can ask questions. We'll do our best to answer them either live during the presentations or at the end with the Q&A section. But I'm sorry, Yuka, I forgot to put your name on here because I wasn't sure you were joining. But Kimmo and Yuka from our Finland Training Center will be doing the hands-on presentation and demos. But we will do an overview of the Pro Packers, both the Bendy and 3D. We'll talk about the patents and some other key features and benefits that separate the Pro Packers from the other ones out in the industry. We'll do an overview of the accessories and tools, including the Packers themselves, navigation guides, push rods, and some other items. We'll talk about the color coding on the Packers and what that means, and the differences between the different types of Pro Packers, which are the Bendy and 3D. And the guys are going to run us through some demonstrations of both. And we'll also talk about the Picote push rods and some of the other benefits of the system, like the grabber attachments that are corollary items that can go with it. And then we'll do our summary and Q&A. And so with that, I will turn it over to the guys in Finland. There you go.
Hello.
Welcome.
So
you guys are live, yes, sir.
Yeah, so here we have the Packers, we have the 3D and Bendy Packer and all the different sizes, or some of the sizes. So as Ryan said, there's color coded. So this one is 3 inch to 4 inch, the green one, and then we also have the 2 inch version. This is from 4 inch to 6 inch, the blue one. So, and the 3D Packer, you can see like maybe the surface, I don't know how well it picks up the camera, but the Bendy, it has the silicone jacket over the Packer. And yeah, they are color coded, so it's really easy to find out the size of the Packer. Also, we have the size on this sticker where the push rod attaches to, and also there's the operating pressure, so it's really easy to remember the basic information of the Packer. So then we have the accessories. We have the pull ring, and it attaches to front of the Packer. So there is a thread inside, and then we have these navigation guides we can also use. So there is 3 different sizes of the navigation guides.
So those navigation guides, I know you guys will show them, but they'll help you obviously navigate around bends, but they can also help you navigate up into ancillary lines and connections as well.
So this is really flexible.
Depending on what area in the world you're in, that is one of the patented features. Obviously, we distribute and support worldwide, so different areas have different patents, but that is one of them.
Yeah, and we have one of the patents is this length limitation. So when we inflate this Packer, it doesn't stretch in length.
Yeah, obviously hard to see unless you took a knife to it and cut it open, which we don't want to do, but there is a internal limiter cable in there which prevents it from overstretching, which increases the longevity, and on the Bendy Packers helps it also to take on the proper shape as well to make it less wrinkles and really more, so I would say allows it to not overexpand, which increases the life of the Packer.
And one of the features is also this hole behind the packer. And that is for front wheel drive. And we can show it on the table. So when you are using the packers, you can like push it obviously with the push rods, but then also some cases it's not enough. You don't get enough force to push the packer through the bends. So you can add this glass fiber push rod inside the packer, and it goes all the way through to the front of the packer tool. So now you have the pushing force also on the front. So that's the front wheel drive. But also you can still use like the pulling ring on the front, and the installer can pull, or then you can use the navigation guide. So it's when you have like a difficult access or you need like lots of force, then you can use this like as a extra pushing the packer. And these are the push rods. So if we go to that, we have two sizes. And I don't know, Ryan, can you tell the dimensions, like the thickness?
Sure. Yeah, let me pull that up here real quick.
But this black one is for, let's say, the 3-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch pipes. And then we have the gray one, and it's more stiff. So when you have a longer installation, you can use the gray ones. And they both fit together, so they have the same connector. So you can add the gray one to the black one. They will fit together. And what else there is about this? So basically, yeah.
So you got your turning handle, of course, and pressure, or not that you need to turn the Packers often, but the same turning handle that we use for our connection collar system is used to push and help navigate those push rods as well. And then as far as the push rods themselves, let me pull that up here real quick for you guys. The smaller diameter one, or the black one there, is 0.86 of an inch. So that's generally designed for our smaller diameter pipes. It's a little more flexible, as you can see. The gray one is right under an inch, 0.94 on the gray push rod. So the gray one is more rigid, so that works a little better for longer runs, larger diameter pipe. But as you can see, they're both still very flexible, and those are the same push rods that go along with the connection collar system. And although we already did that webinar, what's pretty unique about these push rods is that although they're super highly flexible, as you can see, the metal bands and the design that the guys at our R&D team did allows them to rotate without breaking, bending, and storing up energy and over rotating. So more of an item for the connection collar, but still very good for point repairs. They also have a hexagonal connection and locking ring. So once those are connected, they're really solid, tight together.
And you can actually lock this. So the locking ring prevents this connection from opening by accident, but you can close this before you attach the tools. And obviously when you are removing the tool, then you have to open the lock ring. But it's really quick to use when you can like pre-lock this and then attach the tool you need and go from there.
Kimmo, do you want me to show the different lists of Packers now, or do you want to do that after the demos? Maybe we go ahead and talk about, you guys could talk about the difference between the two, the Bendy and the 3D, and then show them in live action perhaps.
Yeah, so now we could still show the difference. So the Bendy, the Bendy Packer inflates from the center first. So if you are fixing a bend in the pipe, it starts inflating from the center and it then goes to the both directions, and then that will iron out the wrinkles so you get the perfect path repair to the bend. And then the 3D packer is for like straight sections, and it will inflate evenly, like from the body. So at the same time, it inflates.
Yeah, well, the 3D obviously is built and designed for straight pipes. The Bendy is really designed for bends. You can use it in straight pipes. It doesn't last as long in straight pipes as say the 3D packer will, so it's a much better choice for bends, but it will operate in both. I would personally recommend it more for the bends and purchase the 3D packer for your day-to-day straight runs. Just long-term investment costs, it's a better deal, but.
Right, so at this point we could mix up the resin, and if you then show, Ryan shows the sizes. And
all right, sounds good.
Yeah, so we start to mix up the resins now.
And one thing too, before that, I wanted to show, when he was talking about the silicone outer jacket, here's a picture of it here. And then there's the inner core. So that silicone outer does a couple different things, but the main feature is it provides protection for the Bendy Packer, which is what allows us to give so much longevity to them versus other ones that are out on the market. It also allows us, all of our packers can be rebuilt. Oftentimes the Bendy Packer, the silicone jacket takes the wear and tear, and it's a much less expensive piece to replace. So that helps keep the rebuild costs down for you as well. But as far as sizes, the Bendy Packer comes in 2-inch, 3-inch, a 3 to 4, a 4 to 6, a 6 to 8, and a 9 to 12. And as you can see, the colors, although they are beautiful in and of themselves, actually correspond to the size of the packer. So I'd say black, white, green, and so forth. One thing to point out, and I believe we have one there in Finland we'll show, but the 2- and 3-inch packers come with an integrated push rod, which is a little smaller diameter, and it comes in different lengths. So as you're ordering it, depending on the standard lengths or the maximum lengths that you want to do with those size packers, you got to take that into account. And also, as you can see, within each packer pipe diameter range, we have different lengths of packers, including some, say, a 3-inch and above that get all the way up to 79-inch in some cases, which is pretty unique as far as elbow or bendy packers that are out there to be able to do multiple bends, including bends going the opposite direction at the same time, or to go with a smaller packer. 3D packer, pretty similar, color coded as well, even longer on some of those because obviously you're going through straight pipes, but we go all the way up to 197 inches on everything above, or 3-inch and above. And 16 or 32 foot integrated push rods with the 2 to 3-inch 3D, and then obviously all the different lengths are there. Won't bore you with all the details, but they're in our catalog, of course, in the Pro Packer section. So back to Finland while those guys are preparing the packers, so you'll get to see how that's done. Any of you familiar with point repairs will probably know some of this, but I'll let those guys explain how we do it there.
Yeah, we have this piece of liner we are using now for this demonstration, and of course there's many ways to do this, but here we just, for demonstration purposes, we have the normal like a piece of Bravo liner, and then we have attached 2 paper strings to the front of the piece. And that's why that when we push it to the pipe, of course now we don't have any bends we just show it in the transparent pipe, but these are going to hold the patch piece onto the packer that it doesn't come off so easily if you would have the bends. And to prepare the packer itself, we have this plastic foil. So it's basically like a packing or kitchen type of stretching foil. So we are adding it to the packer, so it doesn't need to be cleaned after. So after the patch is done, we can just cut using scissors. We can just cut this foil off, and the packer is good to go. So it's really easy to clean. So I just wrap this around the packer. Around 45-degree angle.
And obviously, as you guys, anyone familiar with Picote knows, we do not sell the repair kits or materials, but obviously these are compatible with everything out there, whether you're doing it with fiberglass and silicate, liner and epoxy, different combinations. Beautiful job, Kimmo. Beautiful.
So then I just add the resin to the patch piece.
As he's wetting that out, I wanted to point out something that we always take for granted, but I don't think everyone knows for sure, is that besides obviously being a manufacturer and distributor of all of our trenchless solutions, including our Pro Packers, we are a contractor in Finland. That's how Picote started and still is a contractor. So all of these solutions, including the new Pro Packers, we use on our job sites every week there in Finland. So tested in the field by our services team before we ever let them go out to the market. Squeeze off any excess. No.
Sorry?
Oh, I was just saying you were just squeezing off any excess resin. You don't want to have too much on there for sure, but you want it to be fully saturated like it is. A reminder, if anyone has any questions, there is that Q&A button at the top. I'd be glad to answer anything. All of the guys are doing such a great job. We may not have that many, but if other questions come up afterwards, obviously just reach out to Picote and we're glad to assist in any way we can.
So now I add the patch piece. So the packer goes inside the liner, and I put the patch piece middle, and now we are using the Bendy packer, and it's important to have it in the middle because there is where the inflation is starting. Also, there is the safe space what needs to be on the each end, and that is in the fact sheet or in the manual of the packer. So you need some space here that some of the packer is not inflating, so that's why it's like a safe measurement, but that's in the fact sheet or in the manual, so it's easy to check out.
Yeah, it's definitely in the manual, and it does differ a little bit by the Packer, so it's good to know and note that.
And now we are adding the rubber strings or the rubber bands just to hold this patch piece onto the Packer. And at the same time, I'll fold the liner that it's nicely on the Packer. So next, I'll cut the foil to add the navigation guide. So it just screws here with the thread to the front. Like so. And then I have the paper strings which I tie to the front of the Packer, just to hold the patch piece on its place. And there's many ways to do this, and the paper string will melt eventually. Like what is left in the pipe when the patch has been cured, they will melt away. So this is how it looks. We have the navigation guide on the front, and then we have the patch piece on the Packer. And now we are going to proceed to the installation. Putsausrätteet. Mä pärjään varmaan tällä. Just a second.
No problem. Sub post Richard reminded me that of course we already mentioned it's in the manual, but the safe space on either end is between 6 to 7 inches on each end. Kind of depends on the smaller Packers are 6, and as it gets larger, it's 7, or actually the other way around. But those are in the manual, which is on the Picote Institute, which we'll mention at the end here as well. If you haven't been on there, that is where all things Picote support and information are housed. Now, obviously, we're using our push rods with this system, and they are obviously super high quality recommended push rods, but you can use a standard push rod, at least with the Packers for sure, if you already own them or wanted a different option there. So our turning handle that he has there, used also with our connection collar system, but it has its own valve as well, so you can feather in the pressure after setting the pressure regulator to whatever max pressure you want.
So now we are going to start inflating really slowly, just that you can see how it inflates from the middle first. I hope it picks up on the camera. All right, but now, yeah, and obviously this is the easiest install ever since we have the like transparent straight pipe, but for this demonstration we are using it just to show how it works in the simple way.
Yeah, if you'd like to see, we do have some other demonstration videos besides our YouTube channel on the Picote Institute. There is a Pro Packer overview video where we have multiple shots, including going through multiple 90s with the Packer itself. If any of you bought clear poly pipe, it's super expensive, so we don't do a ton of demos in clear pipe, and the bends are the most expensive, but we do have those videos out there as well. Obviously, at that point, like the one to the right that we did earlier today with our team from the UK, you would obviously let it cure and deflate and remove.
So now we could go back to push rods and the grabber tool.
Yeah.
Fine. So just a second, we need to set up things.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'm going to show them real quick the little thing on the Picote Institute, and then you just holler at me when you are ready.
Yes.
So while they're getting set up to show you the grabber and some of the other things that tie in with the system, if you haven't been yet, the Picote Institute, which really that name now encompasses all of our training technical support, but the Picote Institute LMS, our learning management system, is at www.picoteinstitute.com. You can go on there, create a free account. Everything on there is 100% free. And not only do we have all of our manuals that we mentioned before and fact sheets, but all of our technical guides, technical docs. We have e-learning courses. And then there's a complete video channel based on sort of the main area of Picote, whether it's CIPP, liner removal, brush coating. There's documents and videos inside of each of those channels. There's a Q&A section that not only is answered by Picote technical experts, but also back and forth with people in the industry as well. Basically, a complete wealth of knowledge of everything that is Picote as far as support materials. So highly recommend, if you haven't signed up, go there. It takes like less than a minute. You can create an account, and that's also where we, besides our social media, where we advertise these webinars as well and what's coming up. And obviously this is, if you've been to the other one last month, this is the second in our new sort of series of webinars that we're going to be doing, and we will be doing more and more of them, even more frequently. The next one, at least from the US side, as far as time zones, will be November 16th at the same time, and it will be covering the new Express coding system that the pre-orders to all the resellers just started shipping this week. So you'll see it in advertising, but figured I'd mention it while we had the chance. Looks like the guys are ready, so I'm going to switch back over. All right, guys.
Right, so here we have the grabber for push rods, and it has the same connector as the Packer and the Picote deconnection system. And then we have the 6-inch version, which I believe is coming up, but this is how it looks. So it has 3 jaws, and then we have the small one with the 2 jaws. So 2-jaw version is for 4-inch pipes, and of course you can use it on the bigger pipes as well. And then this is for the 6-inch.
Funny enough, several of us were just at a reseller open house this week, and we did a sort of customer contest, if you will, the reseller did, of how quick they can get those push rods and that grabber head there, the original grabber head, through a pipe with a 90-degree and grab a round flashlight, and it was pretty amazing. I was impressed. There's also jaw options, just like our original and large grabber that come with the different cabling system. There are different jaws that come with it. So that original comes with those in a second set, and then there's a third optional set for purchasing as well.
So I just attached this grabber to the push rod, and it works with the compressed air. So I just add the T handle to the other end and the pressure hose, and I don't need to have a pressure regulator here.
Yeah, it's pretty much all or nothing. If it's got air to it, closes and locks in.
So when I add the pressure, the jaws close. And when I remove the air, the jaws open. You can do one more time. Closed and open.
So it's a pretty handy addition to the push rods. It all, of course, ties in with the connection collar, the Pro Packers, and now the grabber head. So if you're into one part of the system, you can continue adding on different pieces for a lot less money than, say, purchasing everything separately, like a full grabber. And of course, those push rods can be extended and extended to make the push rod grabber head go a lot further. And this one I'm excited to see. I don't know exactly when we're launching this, but what I've heard, it's pretty soon. But the 6-inch and larger for the larger grabber head should be coming out here shortly, definitely by the wet show, I believe, maybe sooner.
So now I add the air. And to release it, I just release the air. And it's really easy to turn inside the pipe since we have the T handle on the other end.
That and the rotatability without the springiness that we mentioned on the push rods tied to the connection collar systems is what allows us to use it so well with the grabber head attachment. If any of you have used or tried to rotate something with sort of more the standard push rods, if they don't actually twist and have damage, you'll get that kind of springy effect where you try to turn a little bit, nothing happens, it builds up because of friction, then turns 3 inches or 6 inches when you only wanted to turn a quarter. That definitely doesn't happen with these. They're super strong rotationally while still being super flexible to go through bends.
All right, so I think that's much about it from the Packer and the push rod, so at least from our side.
Yeah, let me see here what questions we have. I've been getting a few direct text messages too, which is always the fun part of doing the webinars. Someone asked availability. Just right now, all of the Bendy Packers, except for I believe the 8-inch and above, there might be a week or two of a backlog on those, but everything else is fully available from my understanding. So if your reseller does not have it in the shelf, they can obviously quickly order it from us and we would ship there. What other questions might be? All right, another one talking about repairability. What does it cost and where can you get it done? Currently, we'll start to do that out of our, at least I don't know about you guys, Kimmo, but we'll be doing it out of the US Training Center and of course our authorized service centers at the resellers. But basically the general price differences, and it all depends on what the damage is, but it's about 30% cheaper to rebuild one than to purchase a new one. Now, it can be even better than that, from my understanding from talking with our partners on it. If it's, say, just that silicone outer jacket, then it might even be as much as 50% cheaper, even with materials and labor. But anything else here? That looks like most of the questions. I guess we either did such a great job, you guys, that no one has any, or it's just that simple. But it is relatively straightforward. Obviously, it's point repair, but we've added some very unique things to it that make it stand out, I think, in the industry for sure. So I want to thank the team from our Finland Training Center in Porvoo, where we'll be having our open house here shortly. So you may see some videos and social media stuff in the next week or so of other soon to release products or recently released, like the finalized express system and our newest small grabber that we'll be launching here in the next couple of months. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And as always, thank you everyone for attending, and thanks to the team in Finland for showing the Pro Packer. And if you have any questions or you need anything from Picote, obviously reach out, and we are here to support. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. And have a nice weekend.
You too, sir.